What is up, my fellow golf ball addicts? I have an iron review for you today, which I believe this is the first iron review we've actually ever done on the channel. So cool, big day, but we are actually diving into the Srixon ZX5 Mark II irons, which have a lot of hype behind them. I've seen a lot of people playing them. Let's dive in. All right, so I kind of ran into these. A buddy of mine from work, a guy who actually works at the golf course with me, he actually was able to get these irons for a really good deal. Shout out Tyler, really appreciate you, man. He allowed me to borrow them for a few days so that way I could test them and get some numbers from them and share them with you guys to let you know if they actually are legit or not. Now, I don't do a lot of club reviews on this channel. I'd like to, but I just don't have the resources right now. I've done a couple putter reviews, a wedge review here or there, but really this is my first attempt at an iron review, so if it's a little shaky, I apologize. I will do my best. But really, let's just talk about the price point up front. These run about $1,200 for a set. That's 4 through 9 and a pitching wedge. You can get a little cheaper if you just do the 5 through 9 and pitching wedge, of course, around $1,000 but still not a bad price point. That seems to be kind of in the median where a lot of these are. This is a player's distance iron, which I was kind of surprised because I thought at first they kind of looked more like a cavity forgiving iron, like a game improvement. Not the case though, and I kind of noticed that once I got out there and tested, but I won't give that away. But let's go ahead and just also dive into the looks of these irons because they look phenomenal. As you can see from some of these videos here, I mean, it looks sleek. It looks really clean. I love the chrome. Very simplistic. They don't try to do too much. They have a lot of forgiveness packed in there, you can tell, and it really shows too. And not only does it show just by looking at it, but it shows through the numbers as well, because I've looked on like my Golf Spy, Golfer's Digest, and a lot of them have really, Hacker's Paradise even, I think. A lot of these people who are reviewing this club really note it for its forgiveness, its sound, its feel. Now, most of what I've seen is just the distance is okay, but they look phenomenal. As you can see, those are the grips he had on them. I showed that as well. They come standard with your KBS Tour Light steel shafts, whether you get the regular or the stiff, it's kind of the same. That's just the standard unless you get custom fitted. But yeah, I'll throw up some specifications real quick. This is how the the iron sets come as far as their loft and everything. Now, the first thing I notice is that the 7 iron is a 31-degree loft. My Mizuno 7 iron is a 29-degree loft, so that one I'll kind of have to make an adjustment on. But as far as the 9 iron, that's the same. And the 5 iron, I have a 5 hybrid, which is 23. The 5 iron is 24, so it's a little different there too. So the 5 and the 7 iron, we take with a grain of salt. We'll work on it. We'll see if we can get the numbers right. But the 9 iron should be a direct comparison, so we'll definitely check on that as well. So let's get out there and let's hit some shots and let's see how it feels. All right, so starting with the 9 iron here. I have not hit these yet. I know they are a regular flex. So I'm just going to hit one and then just immediately kind of give you my thoughts. Whoa, okay. Interesting. Give me a second here. Let me hit another one. I want to validate the parking here. So just real quick, based on feel, the first thing I noticed is they are really heavy. Maybe I'm just used to playing a specific iron. I've had King Cobras in the past, the Forged Tech. I have now the Mizuno 921 hot metal. I thought the hot metal was a little, heavy when I first got it, but I don't know. This one just feels really heavy at address. I mean, it's a forged head. It's made really well, but you can just kind of feel it. And compared to some other ones I've tried, now granted, I'm not a club tester. I don't do this all the time, so I haven't tested a ton of irons. So my opinion is a little limited, and I apologize for that. But it does feel heavy. It feels heavy when I bring it back. It feels heavy when I bring it down. But my main concern is that for a lot of people, if you're not swinging the club that fast, this would be heavy. If I was someone who only could swing the club, 85, 90 mile an hour with the driver, this would feel heavy to me for sure. So I'm interested about that. I'd love, if any of you have used these, I'd love to hear your thoughts. But anyway, as far as the feel itself, phenomenal. Great sound to it, right in the middle. It gives you great feedback, a loud thwack sound right in the middle. It's actually really, really good. I actually like the feel of it more than my Mizunos. And I mainly bought the Mizunos because that's what I was kind of pitched, is nothing feels like a Mizuno. They're so buttery, but already after hitting this twice, I like how it sounds. I like how it feels. It is just weird getting hit to the heavy head. But let's go ahead and run through these shots now and let's see how the numbers end up. Oh, Blady. So, okay, so 7-iron time now. Immediately when I pick these two clubs up, I noticed that the 9-iron is way heavier than the 7-iron. I'm sure that's because the 9-iron is technically, you know, I mean, it's close to wedge territory, but I mean, there's a considerable difference here. You can feel it for sure. So the 7-iron actually might be more my cup of tea. Oh, bad hit, but it felt good. There we go. So like I said, it's definitely less weight than the 9-iron was for sure. I do like the sound and feel. I'd say it's like an 8 or a 9 out of 10 on sound feel. It's definitely not the nicest iron I've ever hit, but it's up there. It's really good. So really impressed with that. I can't wait to see the numbers. I'm gonna run through the rest of my shots, then we'll go back inside and I'll give you the gist of what we found out. All right, so let's see how these numbers compared now that we've come back inside. Basically, I'm just gonna be kind of comparing it to what I do with my Mizuno Hot Metal 921s. I mean, we'll just see kind of a direct comparison. So let's start off with the 9-iron. Now keep in mind, like I said, this is a direct comparison based on the degree of loft. First of all, looking at that 72-72, that is a little bit more than I got actually with the Mizuno. So more spin, which makes sense, player's distance. Going a little bit further as far as ball speed, 94.6 compared to 99.9. So that's a big, huge difference, and I can kind of attest to that because when I was swinging them, it really did feel like I wasn't, you know, I noticed, I said it when I was out there about the heaviness of the club. You'll also notice that the swing speed is significantly lower than what I get with my Mizuno. It's about 2-3 mile an hour lower swing speed. And again, it just has to do with that heaviness of the club. I'm sure it really helps with forgiveness when, you know, that all that weight coming down, you know, you don't have to swing as hard. I'm sure that really does help. But the reality is, man, that would really suck for, you know, me personally to have to drop 6 miles an hour in ball speed. It definitely does. Now, I did notice less dispersion than I got before, so again, really good. 23.6, so relatively close. I mean, they're not super far away. And then distance-wise is probably what really catches my eye. 127 with the Mizunos compared to 119.7 with, you know, the Srixon. So a loss of about 7 yards. Now, distance isn't everything, mind you. There's different clubs for different people, but still, it's something that would take me a little bit to get used to. And you could tell when I was hitting it. Even though I enjoyed the sound and how it felt, I did not feel as if that golf ball was really coming off the club like my Mizunos do. When I hit it with the Mizunos, it just feels like a rocket coming off. Okay, so now with the 7-iron, it did kind of lighten up a little bit, and I was actually able to get the same, or at least similar, club speed that I get with my Mizuno. So now, you know, there's that difference in loft here, so we'll have to take a look here. 107.2 on your ball mile per hour speed, which with the Mizunos, 113.9, a significant increase, but again, there is that loft difference, so it's a little off, but not as bad as you would think. 59.07 with the Mizunos for spin. Meanwhile, 59.81, so again, very consistent and being just a little bit more than what I'm getting with my Mizunos, but it is really close. 19.7 compared to 18.2, which is really surprising considering that they are lofted a little higher. So I would actually have expected the Srixon clubs to actually, I would expect them to go higher based on that degree of loft, but they actually launched lower, which kind of tells me that, again, players' distance irons, once you get into those mid and long irons, they are going to launch low, so that's all really good there. Smash factor seems to be pretty intact with what I got, but again, it's just that degree loft difference. Still really good numbers there across the board. It's just, if you're used to playing a really hot club, say like a Callaway Paradigm, or, you know, one of these beginner clubs that's like a game improvement iron and you're used to the ball just rocketing off the club, going to something like this is going to be a little different at first just because of how it comes off the club. Okay, so with the 5-iron, you know, again, I'm looking at the club speed. Because I have a 5 hybrid opposed to a 5-iron with my Mizuno set, it's really not a comparison. So here's what I will do. I'm just going to look at these 5-iron numbers and just kind of tell you what I think. I would expect my 5-iron to usually, if I had a Mizuno 5-iron, it'd probably go around 170. All right, so looking at these numbers here, you know, carry 159.9, 163.1. Those actually, they're not bad. I mean, considering the difference in loft and everything, it doesn't surprise me that I it differs by 10 yards from the Mizuno. That seems pretty consistent. 114.9 on your ball mile per hour speed. Not bad. You know, I mean, that's right. I mean, again, distance is just, it is what it is. 5,369 is amazing spin for that type of club. If I was getting that with my hybrid, I would love it. So, I mean, hard to complain there. Really, what I see here in the smash factor is nice too. Ball launch angle at 15.2. Perfect for a 5-iron. I love to see that. And then what I really love the most here at looking at all this is the consistency. It has really, really good consistency. And again, that forgiveness, consistency. Some players are looking for that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Distance isn't everything, like I said before. I mean, the maximum amount of difference here in yardage is only about 7 yards, and that's pretty huge because occasionally you will really hit one pure, and occasionally you will really hit one off the toe. And regardless of that, I only lost 7 yards. That is really, really good forgiveness. I can see why it tested so high in all these other major corporations' rankings, because that's phenomenal. That's really, really good stuff. Yeah, so listen, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I've kind of said it throughout the whole video, but what these irons are advertised as and what they are advertised in my Golf Spy and Golfer's Digest, all this stuff about what they are is 100% true. The sound and feel are awesome. They feel really good. They look phenomenal. The forgiveness is what a lot of people are going to be looking for as well. You know, they're fun to hit. They really are. They really do feel like a forged piece of art almost. They really do. It's a very high quality club. A lot of you are really going to like it. I love what Srixon's doing this year. I think they're doing a really phenomenal job. But like I said throughout the whole video, if you're someone who just is a distance fiend and you love that ball speed and that bouncy ball effect where when you hit it, it just shoots off like a rocket, that's just not the case here. That's not what this club's about. They've put all the focus on just being a well-crafted, high-quality club that is going to forgive you and going to be really consistent. And hey, some of you are looking for that. So I'm impressed. I like them a lot. Definitely something I would play. It would just be a little getting used to the distance. But other than that, I could definitely see myself, you know, if I had to, I could transition to them, no problem. Guys, as always, keep watching, keep saving, and keep learning. As I said, that's the first club review. I know it might have been a little shaky here and there. If you have any suggestions, constructive criticism, I more than welcome it. Thank you so much for staying. See you next time.